Shavua Tov, everybody. Welcome to another week of the Israel Brief with me, Rolene Marks, right here in the middle of Tel Aviv and Jerusalem in the city of Modi'in, which is the city of Hanukkah. It has been an interesting week with a lot of ballistic missiles being fired by the Houthis in Yemen, fired towards central Israel. They are especially aiming for Ben Gurion Airport, about 10 or so minutes away from me. And yesterday, guys, I tell you, I got the fright of my life. I was driving home from the gym and the siren went and I had to pull over and duck for cover. It's not a fun experience, but the reason I'm telling you this is because you guys come to the Israel Brief for news that is factual, unfiltered, and of course, free. Now, the Israel Brief takes a look at those top stories making headlines every Monday to Thursday. Those headlines you are not going to hear in the mainstream media, hence my little talk about the missiles from Yemen. And we are brought to you in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land. And if you would like to receive our newsletter that we put out once a week, please subscribe via our website, and those details coming up a little later in the show. It is day 542, a reminder that we still have 59 hostages captive by Hamas and other terror entities in the Gaza Strip. Time is running out. We need your voices. We need everybody to make sure that the world does not forget about our hostages. And on the subject of hostages, that is our top story for today. Last night, 3 former hostages, Keith Siegel, Tal Shoham, and Yarden Bibas, Yarden, the husband to Shiri, and those 2 beautiful red-haired little boys, Ariel and Kfir, who were so brutally murdered in captivity, sat down with 60 Minutes Leslie Stahl to give one of their first major interviews since being released from captivity. Now, I have posted a copy of the interview on our Lay of the Land Facebook page, so if you want to watch it, it's there. It's about 13 or so minutes. And it was very emotional, pretty devastating to watch. And I understand that some people might be bothered by Leslie Stahl's opening salvo, which she accuses Israel of breaking a ceasefire. And we know there was no ceasefire when Israel decided to resume its military campaign. But for me, despite the glaring factual errors by Stahl, the real takeaway for me, and guys, you might have different opinions, and by all means, please share them with us, is that our hostages are suffering. Our hostages are running out of time. They are suffering. The first person to speak was Yarden Bibas, who thanked President Trump, saying it's only because of President Trump that he is still here. Trump pushing this deal through that saw phase 1 of the ceasefire actually go into actually happen. And he spoke about how Hamas would torment him and torture him, and when they told him that his wife and his children were dead, they said, don't worry, you'll get another wife, a better wife, you'll get more children, better children. And I don't think any of us can comprehend the psychological turmoil of having terrorists responsible for the murder of your family tell you that. Keith Siegel spoke. He spoke about how he was so worried that his wife Aviva would make it back home alive. They were separated. She was released as part of that first deal in November 2023. He spoke about being utterly broken and how hostages were forced to watch the torture of female hostages, and how they saw with their own eyes how female hostages were sexually violated. Now, it is so important that we hear and we bear witness, because we have so many around the world, especially feminist organizations, or feminists as I call them, denying the crimes against humanity of sexual violence committed against the women of Israel on the 7th of October and in captivity. Tal Shoham also spoke. He spoke about how two of the remaining hostages, Eviatar David and Guy Gilboa Dalal, had been speaking about and contemplating committing suicide. I tell you, listening to this absolutely devastated me and impressed upon me how every second is of the essence. And I urge you all to watch it because, whatever we might think of Leslie Stahl's reporting, it's so important that we hear the voices of our hostages, because to the outside world, to your countries and communities, we have to be their voices. They also spoke about being shaved, including the hair on their genitalia, mostly for humiliation, being starved, being beaten. And, it still confounds me that the world seems to have a lot of sympathy for Hamas, a terror organization, while our hostages still suffer in captivity. On a Friday, an earthquake measuring a 7.7 on the Richter scale struck Myanmar and Thailand. Israel has dispatched a search and rescue team of about 22 to Thailand. Among the team are engineers, doctors, IDF elite search and rescue, as well as the NGO Israel Aid. Now, this isn't the first time that Israel has rushed to assist in times of a humanitarian or natural disaster. The situation with Myanmar is a little bit more unclear. Myanmar is run by a military junta, and it's unclear of who has been dispatched there to help them out. We are absolutely sure that they will need assistance, but meanwhile, Israeli assistance is on the ground in Thailand. They have arrived. One area of focus is a 30-floor building that collapsed, trapping 80 workers, and we will keep you updated as we get updated. A plane carrying 12th grade students from 5 schools was forced to make an emergency landing in Turkey. This is according to Israel's education ministry. The education ministry said that the students were on their way to Poland. Normally, Israeli schools do trips to Poland. These students go and visit the death and concentration camps and learn about the Holocaust on the ground there. Now, while they were taken to a secure part of Antalya airport, it is believed that they will reboard their flight for Krakow later this afternoon. Now, why this is of great concern is because Turkey, or at least the president of Turkey, has used extremely inflammatory rhetoric of late. In fact, as recent as yesterday, he called on Allah to destroy the state of Israel. So as you can imagine, a lot of concern for the safety of our students. And finally, lawmakers in the Knesset voted today 16-0 to endorse a day that would honor IDF personnel who had been wounded in Israel's military operations and war. Now, this will entail a ceremony being held at the Ministry of Defense with participation with the IDF, with the police force and security services, and the Education Ministry will also participate with educational programs. And I think that this is long overdue, that we honor and pay tribute to all of those who have been wounded in the variety of military operations and wars in Israel's history. So those are our top stories. Let's take a look now at the audience question, and it comes from Hilary Gordon in Cape Town, who says, Rolene, could Israel going into Gaza jeopardize our hostages? And the short answer to that is yes. There is a concern that military or the resumption of the military operation in Gaza could result in Hamas potentially harming our hostages. This is what we have heard from former hostages who have spoken out saying, they want a ceasefire because very often in their experience, when the military were close, they would often beat the hostages or threaten them. From the government's perspective, military pressure is the only thing that will pressurize Hamas into releasing the hostages. But this is why you are seeing so many protests on the street. People want a ceasefire by any means necessary. Just get our hostages home now. 59 still remain, 24 are believed alive. We want every single one of them without exception home. And after that, we will deal with Hamas. We will deal with Hamas. But in the meantime, we remain gravely concerned about the safety of our hostages. So those are your top stories and your audience question for the day. Guys, don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is at The Israel Brief. We are on Instagram at Rolene_Marks, on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks. Am I missing any? I think I might be missing X at Lay of the Land 5. And forgive me if I'm repeating myself. And guys, God bless you. And I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.